you say that we should not judge others, or as Jesus said, judge not lest ye be judged. However, judging is for many part of their professional duties, like judges, umpires, police, etc. I know you have to bring presence into the exercise, but that is not suspending judgment, is it? Okay. Well, let's say if I were a judge, a professional judge in court, would I be able, having the profession and duty of a judge, would I be able to stay in the condition of non-judgment towards those people whom I am, if they are guilty, whom I am forced to judge in the name of society, or as by function within society, and some of them might have been, some may be free of guilt, or others may have done dreadful things. So would I be able to be free of judgment as a judge? Yes, I would. Judgment, you can recognize what a person has done fully without equating the essential identity of that person with their action. To see that their action arose out of a state of ignorance or dreadful conditioning or other factors that took possession of that person did not have enough consciousness to rise above their conditioning. It does not mean that they should not be put away. They need to suffer the consequences of their unconsciousness, either through the judicial system, or if they don't get caught, they will suffer the consequences karmically of their action, and by suffering the consequences of their unconsciousness, gradually they become more conscious in this lifetime or some other lifetime. So it's almost a paradox to say this person is not ultimately responsible, even if they look sane, even if they can explain, but their mind, people have mental viruses that impel them to do things, or emotional viruses that infect them and take over their organism, and then they're capable of doing dreadful things. They were taken over, like the guy in Sweden who killed his people in Norway, who killed the people on an island a couple of years ago, or recently the dreadful events at schools and so on. These people get taken over by mental viruses that occupy their mind completely, combined with emotional fields of intense anger. They know not what they do, and yet they have to suffer the consequences, either through the judicial system. If they are not caught, they will suffer, suffering will come to them. So if I were the judge, I would see that. I would have to put them away. I would become the arm of karma for them at this moment. I would have to surrender to that. By the way, it would not be my choice to be a judge, but if I had to. And not judge means not equate the essential reality of that human being with their actions, because knowing that there is a deeper being underneath it, and so that you judge, but you don't equate that with who they are. So you still have an inner benevolence towards the perpetrator. There is still a certain benevolence there, knowing full well that the perpetrator needs to be put away, if only for the protection of others. And so basically the non-judgment means not equating what a person does through unconsciousness with who they essentially are. And in a way, that is also a form of forgiveness. Forgiveness means not harboring this intense hatred towards another human being. Now, if something has happened to you, to somebody very close to you, let's say your child was killed by somebody, it could take a while before you could let go of that emotion or of hatred or intense anger towards that person. It would be absurd to say, you must let go. It doesn't work like that. You would have to allow yourself to experience that for quite a while. It would be there naturally. And then after allowing yourself that at some point you would be able to transcend that, and then there would be some forgiveness coming in, which means really letting go of that intense energy of anger or hatred, which ultimately is self-destructive. It is not pleasant and it is not healthy to harbor that within yourself. And eventually you would see that. But to tell a person that it should be free immediately, that would not be advisable. As you know, I mentioned it briefly in a book, there was a Greek philosopher, can't remember his name, when a messenger came and said to him, your son has just been killed. And he was a Stoic philosopher, the school of Stoicism, which means detachment from externals. And he said the famous words, I knew he was not immortal. Now, as I mentioned, I believe in the power of now, where I quote that, we don't know what this philosopher's inner state was when he said those words. It could have been that he had cut himself off from all emotion, trying to be a Stoic philosopher who is totally independent of external events. That's one possibility. Or there's a possibility that he was so deeply connected with that which is immortal in every human being that the moment the messenger came to him and said, your son has died, has been killed, he connected so deeply with that he was in a state of deep peace, and that out of that state of deep peace that realizes the ultimate immortality of the essence of every human being, and out of the state of deep peace he said, I knew he was not immortal. So we cannot, some people would judge this philosopher and say, how can he say such a thing? He must have been heartless and callous. It's possible that he shut himself off from knowledge, but it's also possible that he was rooted very deeply within himself. So, but those words survived for 2,000 years. They were reported by the messenger, and then people said, wow, I knew he was not immortal, he said. I'd like to believe that he was in touch with the depths of his being. I am told that we need to finish. Somebody was signaling there. Thank you. I'd love to go on for a long time. They may be having some performance here tonight, I believe. Last year, or was it this year, we were here, and after the last day of our filming in this theater, Robin Williams came, who lives nearby, and did an impromptu 1.5 hour performance. For the theater was full, as a contribution. He wants to help the local theater, and so he's a person who's spontaneously funny and can't help it. He's so whatever word comes out is totally spontaneous. 1.5 hour, and the next morning my cheeks were hurting because I met him briefly afterwards. I don't think he had ever heard of me. He looked Power of Now. But that's fine. He may not need it. He's just an incredible ability to generate humor continuously. Jim Carrey, to some extent, also has that. It comes out of him spontaneously. Many of the funniest scenes in his movies, actually people don't know that many of them came out of him spontaneously as they were filming them. Oh, the bell.